It's the Gen Zer, and I'm back. Today, guys, we're going to react to a video by Finding Sky titled The Problem with Gen Z. Gen Z has a lot of problems, but Finding Sky is going to tell us exactly what the problem is. So, without further ado,
Main character energy. One who is trying to focus more on themselves and make their wants and desires first and foremost.
what is this NPC normie talking about?
AKA a dickhead overly attached to their mediocre life.
Hmm.
I feel like one of the biggest issues our generation is facing is the magnitude of self-importance that everyone seems to be experiencing at once. With 4.5 billion people on social media, most are broadcasting some aspect of their life on the internet because they're delusional enough to think that someone actually cares about their opinions. Oh shit. We're so egocentric that
Wow. Dare I say, her content is it really strikes. I mean, it's striking. It's great. I mean, she's doing a great work painting. And yes, most people are self-centered. I mean, here's a loser here who titles himself the Gen Zer, and he's commenting on what other people are saying about Gen Z. Go figure. NPC normie energy.
we even made a term for completely invalidating a belief or action just because it doesn't align with our own values. We call this cancel culture, but what it really is bigotry. We silence unpopular opinions and refuse to hear the other side like a child covering their ears, pretending not to hear anything. From
La
this
la la la.
perspective, we're right and everybody else is wrong. Main character energy is just narcissism presented as a socially acceptable aesthetic. Before someone makes a comment about how the community of these people who expect the world to revolve around them is well intentioned and say some shit like, we're just misunderstood, let's talk about the audience of the people watching these videos. Because I feel like sometimes we forget just how irresponsible some of the people who use the internet actually are. Let me remind you that a quarter of TikTok users are aged 10 to 19, aka people that we think, at least in America, are too young to do something like consent to sex or make any big life decision. Half of them aren't even old enough to drive a fucking car, yet we expect them to responsibly handle the massive amount of information and opinions they're exposed to on a daily basis.
Wow, she's cooking. She is cooking. Wow, she's in the kitchen dropping gems. I absolutely agree with her. Um, you know, a lot of the young members of our generations online, they're really being exposed to certain things which they shouldn't be at such a young age. They're exposed to various things on social media which will have a negative impact upon them in the long term. It's decreasing their attention spans. A lot of the younger people of our generation have the attention span of a goldfish, which is literally 5 seconds or less. And if I'm not mistaken, I last heard there was a study which stated that even that already poor attention span has been reduced. It's a nightmare. But of course, she's pointing it out and she's absolutely right. Let her carry on.
Bro, what? Bitches can't even see over a fucking steering wheel, but we're giving them access to the most powerful and influential resource on the planet? We're exposing impressionable children to a platform literally curated to manipulate people's beliefs, and you think that they have the attention span, maturity, or even desire to question what the fuck kind of bullshit they're being fed? No, we've put machine guns.
Hey, my friend here got a potty mouth, but she's cooking, man. And I'm digging the gold chain. I'm digging the aesthetics. She's definitely going off. That's a very Gen Z way of communicating. But hey, listen, I'm here for it.
In the hands of children, and you were actually delusional if you think they're going to handle it responsibly.
The drill goes hard, man.
According to research,
I just want to get sturdy she's talking real facts here, but I just want to get sturdy. Like this beat is hard. Anywho, carry on.
90% of those a part of Gen Z believe that they're open minded. But this open mindedness is about as legitimate as that statistic I just pulled out of my ass. On the outside, Gen Z appears very accepting of others' sense of individuality and self expression, but that's only true when that expression aligns with their own values. For example, we have total acceptance for minorities like those in the LGBTQIA alphabet soup, whatever the fuck Z Zer shit.
Hey, what is Caesar Zim talking about? That was a joke. That was a joke, Finding Sky. That was a joke.
Ethnic minorities, those with mental health problems. I made a video about that. Go watch it. But mention the T word or something about how men and women aren't the same, and you'll see just how quickly that acceptance and open mindedness turns into blatant intolerance. I found this.
Is she saying that there's not 455 genders? I am offended. Did I just assume this individual's gender? Oh my god, I'm the problem.
Clip on YouTube of this professor named Jordan Peterson who's trying to give a lecture about the importance of freedom of speech while surrounded by SJWs who somehow think that throwing a temper tantrum is an effective way to demonstrate their argument.
She doesn't understand what this is about. This is about saving the heart of Canada. And of course, the people in Toronto, they understand that me, as Professor Peterson, I have to I have to essentially deal with this issue. Of course, we're very about that here. We understand that. And that's why I'm making the voice. And let the good people of Toronto, understand, that we're dealing with these oppressions, Canada, Is that what they're talking about up there in the north? Trudeau, you've ruined our country, Oh, Canada, What is going on, What is this about, We'll make a video about Canada and Gen Z someday, I want to go to Canada to see what it's about. Of course, I can only do the Toronto accent. I would do the Quebecois accent, but most of you don't speak French. C'est tabernacle, pas vrai? But of course, I'm going to resort to my Toronto accent and Dr. Peterson just stating everything that he's about. About it. I forgot what I'm talking about,
They are literally holding up a sign that says no freedom for hate speech while simultaneously yelling hate speech at the professor. The hypocrisy in this video is almost comical. But when any of Gen Z opens their mouth to speak in support of their belief, they offer no actual explanation. It's a big fuck you, shut your mouth. Wow, how very open-minded understanding of you. I guarantee that not a single person protesting that video actually cares about the issue, because if they did, they would be explaining their argument like an adult to try to help the people in disagreements understand their point of view and join their side. There's no way that the people yelling this don't know that this is an ineffective way to get someone to agree with you. It's a performance. Students are just hopping on the bandwagon so their peers can know how woke they are. It makes me immensely disappointed to see that this is how we treat people who disagree with us. Instead of sitting down and respectfully offering a constructive argument, we just yell nonsense. You look lost and unintelligent. You look like a bunch of children crying because mommy didn't cut the crust off your sandwich. And to see the professor calmly and respectfully responding to the chaotic situation not only leaves me with respect for him, but it also gives his statement so much more credibility because he's acting rationally and not emotionally. Even if I knew absolutely nothing regarding what this argument was about, I would immediately assume that he has something more valuable to say than the people childishly yelling obscenities. I feel like this video really shows just how far from open-minded we actually are. It's like we're only accepting of the things that the majority agree should be accepted. But open-mindedness doesn't mean only being receptive to beliefs that align with our own. It means being willing to consider different ideas even when we don't agree with them.
Wow. This young lady is very mature. She's very mature. I mean, her viewpoints are spot on. I don't see a single thing she stated so far that I disagree with. Gen Z does put on the air that it's quite accepting of various viewpoints, but I have noticed that Gen Z is quite dismissive of very conservative ideologies. Gen Z is not tolerable of ideologies which are conservative for the most part, right? And I will say, among conservative Gen Z people, even though they tend to be socially liberal in some regards, they will definitely be dismissive of certain uh, liberal ideology as well. It works both ways. Gen Z is a generation of echo chambers. I think growing up in Gen Z, uh, most Gen Zers don't have a unified culture. Whereas, for instance, what I mean by that is boomers can reference to, let's say, a particular activity, and the overwhelming amount of boomers have partaken in that. So for instance, most boomers used to go watch drive-in movies in their cars. That is a common occurrence, or a cultural phenomenon which unites boomers. I think it's fair to say that most Gen Xers probably watched Back to the Future, right? That was a movie which was popular when they were young. That is a uniting cultural phenomenon right there. Even most millennials, I can say most millennials probably watch Forrest Gump. Most Gen Zers, what can we say as Gen Zers which unifies us culturally? One single cultural phenomenon which, the overwhelming majority of Gen Z has partaken in that. I mean, I can think maybe of, uh, Endgame, maybe with Thanos finger snapping and just erasing half the universe. But there's a lot of Gen Zers who just don't watch Marvel movies. So that may not be true, but that's the best example that I can think of in reference to pop culture. Certainly music. Yeah, rap music, but even rap music has been fragmented into various subgenres, which one a brand new one is popping every day, and a brand new artist is popping out every single other nanosecond. So we just can't keep up with it. But I completely agree with her stance on Gen Z, essentially faking and acting as if it's tolerant when it really is quite intolerant in how it demonstrates its acceptance, especially towards those with viewpoints, which it particularly does not agree with.
And yeah, maybe we can't judge the entirety of a generation solely based off one video, but this is not the only video out there like this. These people are college students, young adults attending university. Could you imagine if the 10-year-olds who can't see over the steering wheel were there too? Everyone in Gen Z is performative. There's even a term now called performative activism because there's such a massive amount of people who just mindlessly repost infographics so they can look woke regarding a trendy social issue. I remember when people were backing
Mm.
Greta Thunberg and raging against the environmental destruction we're causing, but the same people reposting that shit on social media were stuffing their faces with McDonald's burgers like animal agriculture isn't one of the leading causes of climate change. Reposting pictures on Instagram doesn't actually help the situation. It's just giving you this false sense of reassurance that you're doing your part when you're not. I still scroll through the friendship version of Bumble sometimes. I made a video about that too. And I see bios with swipe left if you voted for Trump, as if the pedophile with dementia was that much less embarrassing. Neither of them should be celebrated, and the fact that we voted for either of them in is a national atrocity.
Hey yo, hey yo! Did she just said the PDF file? You hear me, YouTube? I said PDF file with dementia. Wow, this girl is not messing around. Hey, she is not messing around. Listen, she's alleging some A minor activity here. We'll allow Mr. Kendrick Lamar to speak further on that. Wow, that is quite a heavy video. Finding Sky, I will definitely have to react to more of your videos in the future. Your content is as entertaining as they come. I was not expecting that.
We're clearly divided, and it's over the dumbest shit. You don't want to be friends with someone who has a different opinion on something as irrelevant as politics? Bro, who cares? Half of you aren't even old enough to vote. This whole idea of just shuffling through everyone who isn't
Mhm.
exactly like us is a perfect example of confirmation
They're not like us. They're not like us. They're not like us.
bias. Confirmation bias reads the tendency to search for information that is consistent with one's already existing beliefs. You're just looking for validation to justify your perspective and ignoring anything that threatens it. This is a problem because you won't ever be exposed to information that challenges your beliefs. Instead of processing new ideas that could potentially shift your views for the better, you just live in this main character fantasy where you're always right.
Wow. Wow. Finding Sky, I mean, her content is amazing. I just have to be honest. It's quite refreshing. It's quite raw. It's authentic. She's right. Most people are just living in their own echo chambers. They're just living in their own realities. They're perfectly curated realities, and they refuse to face the actual reality. You know, one saying which Gen Z has, which has always irked me, it's the term "my truth." There is no your truth. That doesn't exist. Truth is objective. Truth is universal. The truth is as universal to you as it is to me. It applies to you as it applies to me. The truth could be it is dark outside, but your truth could be it is always the sun is always shining. So I think the sun is shining right now, but ma'am, it is 12 a.m. There is it is 12 a.m. You're in the northern hemisphere, and no, you're not where the northern lights are shining. So there is no sunshine here. This is not Alaska. So what are you talking about? Oh, but that's my truth. That's my reality. Of course, the adaptation of this mentality has allowed Gen Z to believe ludicrous things, as in the proliferation of multiple genders. Gender is a social construct, not based on sex, not based on any sex characteristics. I mean, it's just a social construct which is independent of anything else, especially independent of sex and sex traits. Right? Yeah. Let us allow our friend Finding Sky to finish displaying her beautiful art here. Hey, hey, hey. Wow. Great video. Great video. Shout out to Finding Sky. We'll definitely be reacting to more of her videos. That was excellent. Now, without any further ado, we will be heading out. And we'll see you guys back another time. It's the Gen Zer, and I'm out. Peace.